Leaders of the major opposition political parties in Nigeria have rejected the amended Electoral Act 2026, recently signed into law by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Consequently, they asked the National Assembly to immediately commence a fresh process of amendment, accusing the ruling All Progressives Congress of plotting to use the subsisting amendment to rig the 2027 elections. The latest amendment process was dogged by controversy and protest from the opposition and civil society organizations who insisted on the real-time transmission of election results against the manual proviso included by the lawmakers. How realistic is this call on the eve of an election year? What areas do they want amended, and what are the significance? Well, for all of that, we're now being joined by NOB, a former convener of the Nigeria Civil Society Situation Room. Good to have you on Newsday. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Well, Anna, how justified is this demand at this stage, and how realistic really is it to push through substantial electoral reforms, just on the eve of an election year?
Well, you look at the movement of the opposition when many civil society organizations were out there in the protests and calling for real-time transfer. You hardly have that unity of focus, and everybody knowing that if you are in the opposition, you should be telling the government, you are the watchdog, more or less, for the government when they're going one way or the other that you don't like. You come together. And that's why when we were at the National Assembly, and a lot of people said, you saw the obedience, you saw the Nigerian Civil Society Situation Room was there with many other groups, and you saw Mr. Peter Obi coming in. And when they saw them, people were saying, why, the opposition is trying to take advantage. I said, but Tinubu was there before. President Tinubu was there on the other side against Jonathan. So he expects you to be able to react when things are going the way you don't like. That's the nature of the environment and the nature of politics itself. Now, so why was it that many did not come out at that time? Where are the political parties? And I really wonder about elections, because we just finished the FCT elections. How many, party agents would you see at the polling unit? You hardly see more than 4. And we have more than 19 political parties because of the new entrants now. So you waited, and then it has been passed. They have their right to call for amendments. This was one of the things that we faced in 2022. When the bill went to President Muhammadu Buhari 7 times, it was the 7th time that he signed it. And even when he was going to sign it, there was a clause that he was quarreling with, that they were really, I think the National Assembly thought he would not sign it. But we said, you made a promise, Mr. President, that you will sign it and take it back. And when he signed it, he took it back. But where you find out also that this particular electoral amendment happened at a time where the president was fully in the know. He wanted it to be the way it came out. If not, you cannot tell anybody why the transfer of this from the National Assembly went to the president immediately, and it was signed, because there was no time for, in terms of, if it's under normal circumstances for a bill, you will find it going to the Attorney General, going to the technical team or the legal team for the drafting. It meant that he wanted that bill, and they have been part and parcel of a National Assembly all along. And that's what came out. It has been signed into law. The electoral timetable is out by INEC, and whatever have you, so it's left for agitations are normal. And so, but we need to listen to the will of the people. And I'm happy that the letter announcing the timetable has asked that all stakeholders work together for a respecting the sovereignty of Nigeria and respecting, the rules and regulations, but how they do it. Because it's not how many amendments you carry that is the issue. What is the quality of the human that is manning at all times? Where are we standing? Are Nigerians standing upright for Nigeria? Because whether you are in INEC or you are a politician, are you standing upright for Nigeria? Many of them take the pledge of, I pledge to Nigeria, my country, to be faithful, loyal, and honest. Are they loyal and honest? We should test our conscience at this time.
And if these amendments are actually not made and we go into 2027 with the act as it is, the current 2026 act, what is the worst case scenario that you can anticipate for Nigeria's democracy?
I think the issue of electronic transmission, because you begin to wonder, though there are some little variations in terms of the law, but if you look at exactly what is happening, the Electoral Amendment, Act of 2022 had transmission in it. And I remember that the INEC chairman, the then INEC chairman, Professor Mahmood, was queried several times, was called to the National Assembly, are you sure you can ensure transmission? He said yes, they had no problem with it because the beavers operate offline, and then, offline and online, whatever transmission that you can make, you can do it. And when we tested the beavers before the 2023 general election, they were uploading results and what have you. But I think beyond uploading of the results, beyond the transmission of the result, what is the quality of each person standing upright? Again, I mentioned that, standing upright for Nigeria, doing the right thing. You know when wrong is wrong, is wrong. Right, you also know because your conscience will deal with you when you are changing the timetable, or you are changing something because you want to benefit because of the greed, of so many that come on board. We need to look at ourselves. Civic education, the office of the citizenship, the highest office of the land is that of citizenship. Do we have the obligation to do the right thing when you are there? What is a trust issue? Are you doing it for selfish means? And I call all the politicians to say that, what you are doing on a daily basis is influencing your children. You are teaching the younger Nigerians what to do. What the future will be is what we invest today. Both trust, mentorship for the young ones, because the duty of a leader is in replicating leaders. If you cannot create another leader that is bigger than you, if you are not trustworthy, then that counts, in everything. So with the implications, what are we looking at? We are looking at a just election. In 1993, the election results came out. You see, the issue of the party, politicians need to pay attention to, party agents. The guideline now has stated you need to know, you need to also appreciate when to be able to unite your things. In other places, I said in Ghana, 2028 election, the primaries have been conducted. They know, they have polling unit environment. So let there be massive registration into political parties. You defend, you conduct political education, educate the people so that they can act aright. But if you are averse with the Nigerian constitution, remember that you all swore to defend the constitution of Nigeria. Anytime you veer with your conscience is a wound, says, the Guardian, and it will prick you. Because whatever you do in aberrance to the constitution, you are the one that is killing Nigeria. And so we must all work together. We need to work together. The first thing is that your duty is to Nigeria. But how many of you are paying attention to Nigeria?
Well, and you've said a lot, and we certainly appreciate your point. But then I'm wondering, are frequent amendments to electoral laws a sign of democratic growth, or is it a sign of system instability? What are your thoughts on this?
Frequent amendment that we're talking about, they tried and tried between 2015 and 2019 and down to 2022. You remember, that the 2022 electoral amendment happened, or the bill came on board after 7 times. And so, are we so worried about the amendment or that people are doing the right thing? The Constitution of Nigeria, is it more than enough to ask you to be truthful? And I was discussing with somebody yesterday. I remember when Nigeria, in terms of INEC, they distribute materials for election. In the evening, people go to their homes with the electoral materials. That's the polling unit officials. They go to their homes. In the morning, they just wake up in their neighborhood and bring out all the electoral materials, and they set up. An election was conducted even under a better, condition than now. So Nigeria was at it before. We needed to strengthen the system. But what we are seeing now is that the political class, the greed is more, the quality of the persons, there is so much that is going on that you cannot say. It's not the amendment. Even if you amend it and you say, transmit electronically, what are you going to transmit? We need to believe in ourselves. If you don't believe in yourselves, then the future of this country is finished. But if you believe in yourself and believe in others, you need to trust that the system can work. I want to see an INEC chairman who is standing upright for Nigeria. I want to see a REC that is standing upright for Nigeria, all the administrative officers, all the polling unit officers, the Nigerians themselves, because when you go to Ghana, when they are standing and talking about, when they are counting the votes, all the agents are united. They look at the result, and the way they look at, even if another party is not there, they stand up on behalf of one another. What does it take? The electioneering campaign or whatever we have to do, present yourself as Nigerians. Go and present yourself, vote and be voted for. One of the things we're not having all this while, even up until 2023, is the register of political parties, that the register. Many of us, they never had the register. The INEC chairman then complained, but we never had the register. We had their registry now. There is a timeline between which you have to register this time. Yes. What I'm not seeing in the timeline is a continuous voter registration.
Right.
I know that the time they will publish, but that is not there.
Yeah. Well, NAOB, it's always a pleasure to have you on the program. Thank you so much for having this discussion with us this afternoon.